How's it going? So, I've just been kind of thinking the last couple hours, and I kind of just wanted to formulate my thoughts of hard realities and hard truths. As a lot of us men get older, we start realizing one of the biggest being is that the world doesn't owe you nothing, and sure as hell, generally speaking, isn't going to give you nothing. And nobody is going to give you a chance. So, if you got bad luck, you don't got parents that aren't exactly, the most helpful, maybe you were never given a chance in life. Tough luck, tough draw. Okay? Because I'll tell you right now, that was definitely me. I didn't get shit. I didn't get a chance. I didn't get nothing. And one of the harshest realities I personally had to face when I was younger, even now, it's hard. Kind of living with the fact that, the life, no one cares how much potential you have. Nobody cares how smart you are. And no one gives a fuck how hard you work. Nobody's going to give you a chance. Nobody's, or at least most people in this world, are going to look right by you. You aren't important to most people. Okay? Nobody's there to help you. Nobody's going to be there to save you. And I think that there was a viral quote going around on the internet for a little while by, I don't know, one of Andrew Tate's douchebag friends. I don't fucking know. But he said, the greatest day in a man's life is the day he realizes nobody's coming to save him. And when he can be okay with that, is the day he'll become a man. Something like that. I don't quite remember the full quote, but it's kind of true. It's kind of true. The day you stop realizing that nobody in this world is coming to save you, nobody in this world is coming to help you, and nobody in this world gives a fuck about giving you personally a chance, is the day you realize you're fucking on your own. You either make it or break it. And I think I always learned from a young age, because I never had good parents. Okay, my mother was very abusive to me, mentally and very physically, mostly mentally. But and while I did not have a father, my father fucked off to Florida, and I just didn't know him. He never made it a point to call me or get to know me or nothing. I received a letter once in a while from him. He wasn't someone who I just didn't know. It was someone that he just made no effort to be in my life. And as a kid, for any fathers out there, I'll tell you right now, if you don't make an effort, your kid sure as fuck ain't gonna make an effort. And he shouldn't, because you don't deserve it. Now, I'm not saying, I don't know what's going on in your life, but it's just the harsh truth that it's not up to your kid to make an effort to be in your life. It's your job to make an effort if you want to be a part of your kid's life. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But so, I did have a dad. My dad was not my stepfather. He was my mother's boyfriend, who I think she started dating him when I was like late 6, maybe 7. And don't get me wrong, he's a good guy. I love him to death. I've known him my whole life. I've lived with him on a few times. And they dated for 11, 12 years, I think, till I was like 15. It might not have been 10 years, I guess. It was probably closer to like 8 or 9. But, he was the primary person that, was there for me as a father figure. And, he was a whole lot of friend and not a lot of father. I love him to death. And if he does see this, which I doubt it would take quite a bit for him to see this, because nobody knows I'm making YouTube videos. Because honestly, I don't know, I'm just here to vent at this point. I'm not expecting nothing. But some people commented, some people are seeing, so to y'all, thank you. And I'm just going to keep going, because honestly, at this point, I don't got much else and nobody else to talk to, so I'm just going to fucking vent. And whoever shows up, fucking shows up. So, back to what I was saying. He was a whole lot of dad and not a lot of father. And what I really needed was a fucking father. I needed someone to whoop the shit out of me. Not so much physically, but maybe just put my ass to work and make me do it. Do something with me. Sad part is, I was always taking shit apart. I was always doing shit. It kind of, I kind of wonder, what would have happened if my mechanical abilities would have been fostered at a younger age. I never did well in school. I never could sit still for shit. I never obeyed shit. Apparently they said I had a defiance disorder. Fuck you. Yeah, they were probably right. But, I don't know. I never did well in school. School just wasn't for me. School's just not my jazz. I really should have been out doing stuff, fixing stuff, working, doing, learning how to fix stuff, learning how to actually survive in life. But that shit was never really, that shit's just not how school works. And it's probably why women do much better in school than men do. But it's a harsh reality. There's a lot of harsh realities out there that men, you're either going to learn, or you've probably got parents that, give you shit and kind of coddle you. And at the end of the day, when you're not given shit, you're either going to learn harsh realities, or you're probably going to end up like most hard men out there. A lot of them end up druggies, in prison, breaking laws, killing themselves. I don't want that for a lot of guys. Trust me. I am surprised I didn't go down all these routes. I was definitely a bit of a drunk in high school. And a little bit after. But I realized that A, I didn't really like it, and B, that wasn't going to get me anywhere. I learned from a young age that if I want shit, I'm going to have to work for it. Because all I got's me. I've never been good at figuring things out when it comes to, trying to sign up for school. And I've always had trouble trying to figure out what to sign up for. And I never wanted to be a leech on society. I never wanted to go down living off the state or the government society and getting all sorts of welfare and benefits. Which, when I was at the homeless shelters, it was offered to me. I never wanted that shit, because I don't want that. You weren't gonna have nothing nice doing that shit, but you gonna be taken care of. They sure as fucking gonna take care of you. The amount of fucking benefits that they give you is kind of insane. People live on like a full-time job. Like, I get it. If you're down on your luck, you need some help. Everybody needs some help. And it's the good ones that never get it. Most of the time, I need help. I never get it. Nobody's ever there to bail my ass out. I learned hard that the only one that's there to bail my ass out is me. And this kind of comes as probably the second or third. Learn from your mistakes. If you make mistakes spending too much money, or maybe, you fucked up with women, relationships, or you've had a couple of bad relationships, maybe stop having relationships for a while. Focus on your career, You got to learn from your mistakes. Harsh realities. You need to learn from your mistakes. And I think probably the third harsh reality is, a lot of the time when it comes to relationships, this is a reality that I've seen many of my friends make. I didn't really do a whole lot of dating. I haven't done a whole lot of dating in a long time. And now, from what I heard, the dating market is extremely difficult. And I've just been focused on working and homelessness, trying to get my finances in my life in order because I want to actually have something when I'm 40. At the rate I'm going, I'd like to at least enjoy my 40s at some point, maybe my 50s, have something in my 60s, because at this rate, the way the world is going, you ain't going to be able to rely on Social Security to retire. You ain't going to be able to rely on the government to help you retire. And you sure as fuck ain't getting no pension anymore. That shit's gone. You might think your 401k might be, there when you retire. That's all well and good. I don't want to struggle in my 40s and 50s. I want to be living life. Maybe not, out there partying, but maybe having a nice car, a nice classic car, do some traveling. I'd like to have a classic car and travel the country. Maybe stick around in the state for a month or two and move on. Maybe be a drifter for a while. I've been a drifter for a while, but I'd like to see out west. That's my goal. Maybe get a nice truck or something, put all my tools on it, and just fucking drive. Harsh realities, Nobody's gonna be there to help you. Nobody's gonna be there to give you a chance. Nobody. No, majority of the time, you're on your fucking own. Your sob story, no one gives a shit. Learn from your mistakes. Probably the third I can give you right now is dating probably ain't it. When you're in your 20s, trust me, dating ain't it. Women got options. You generally don't. So while it might be your turn, you don't got her. So dating's a hard one when you're in your 20s. You ain't got shit. Most women want guys with got shit. It's just dating in your 20s. It just ain't where it's at, And a lot of and women like to think they got all the power when they got the coochie. It's like, I've never really dealt. I've never dealt with bullshit. And when I was younger, when I was dating, I used to put up with a lot of bullshit when I was really young, and I would just tell them fuck off, and we're done, and then I'd let them come back, and then they'd do something, and I'd be like fuck off again. So I'd play that constant fucking back and forth of we're back together. Hour later we're broke up. 2 days later we're back together. 3 days later we're breaking up again because she just keeps pissing me off. That shit ain't it. And women's like, well, you gotta do what I say. I got the coochie. Bitch, okay. Like, I mean, if I ain't getting coochie from you, I'll get coochie from somewhere else, okay? Like, you ain't the only coochie out there. Half the population's got a cooch. I don't need yours. I can make a phone call and be in another cooch in 30 minutes. Guys, and any guys here who have options, you know how it is. Like, you don't need to play that shit. You don't need to put up with their bullshit. There's another cooch around the corner. That shit can fuck right off. But the first one was my biggest problem. Is I always I thought my sob story, maybe someone would give me a chance, take me on, help me, maybe I'd be able to learn from someone, because that's just shit you see in the movies. The broke down kid on the side of the road. He meets this kind older man, takes him under his wing, teaches him shit, treats him like his own son that he doesn't have. Bro, that shit's in the movies. That shit is not real in real life. And the short few that have found that, good for you, because I'll tell you right now, no one gives a fuck about you, your problems. They don't give a fuck, bro. They might act like they care briefly. I've had people who, oh shit, if it gets too cold out in your car, you can always just call me, come over and stay at my place. And I had a boss that did that. He told me that. I quit because I couldn't fucking stand his ass, because he was a fucking dick. He'd act like 1 minute he liked you, but he'd be screaming at you, telling you you're a fuck up the next day. Fuck you. You know, most of the time, they just don't give a shit. Most people don't give a shit. The only people that might give a shit are your parents and if you have family. Most blood, a lot of the time, ain't very good family. Most family, usually the people that aren't blood are better family. That's how it is with my dad. He lives in North Dakota, so I can't really depend on him. But again, he was always more of a friend dad than a father dad. And probably what I really needed was a father dad to whoop my ass into shape and turn me into a man. The problem with that is he's never really been much of a man himself. You know, he's always been kind of a dreamer man child. As much as I hate to say it, if you see this, Dad, I'm sorry. You know it's true, you know. You never want to stay in a place. You never want to work. You know, you're always looking for the next new thing. That was great when you were in your 40s. He's like mid 50s now, and I think he's almost 60. And it's like, you need to start working. You need to start focusing on retirement, man. You know, it's like, oh, you know, I'd like to live in Europe and do this. Like, bro, you broke. Like, you working a good job now, but like, I can't imagine he has much retirement. I just can't imagine. You know, I love him to death, but you know, I know it's my age criticizing him. He ain't gonna take advice from me. He never has. And you know what? Some 20-year-old came in talking to me. I don't know how many 20-year-olds, they just start talking, you just want to tune them out and tell them shut the fuck up. You have no clue how hard life can be. Harsh, you know, life's harsh. Life fucking sucks. Life fucking sucks. And if you let it, it'll fucking tear you down and leave you with nothing on the side of the road and a pile of drugs and lead you to prison. And if you're lucky, you'll get out when maybe you'll make something in your 40s and your 50s when you smarten up, stop doing that shit. So if anyone can take anything from this, all you younger kids, you know, if I have any younger kids subscribers, don't bitch. It doesn't help. I know, you want to talk about your problems and what you've been through. No one cares. I wish it was different. You don't deserve it. Most people don't deserve it. Most people deserve it. You know, I think most people on average deserve a chance. But you're never going to get one. Nobody's going to give you one. And most people do not give a shit. Most people don't respect you. Most people aren't going to respect your hard work either. Most people don't give a fuck about your hard work. It's the ones that work the hardest that are usually the ones that are overlooked. Yeah. It's kind of hard. You know, I was always taught that, you know, hard work should always get you through. You know, you should always be the hardest working one on the site. I think people are kind of realizing this now, that hard work is absolute horse shit. You know, you just work harder and then you just get more work, but the guy that does barely anything is the one that's promoted. Life ain't fair. That's the biggest harsh truth that you always hear when you're younger, but it doesn't really sink in till you're older. That life ain't fucking fair and it ain't never going to be fair. And if you keep pushing that life is fair, you're fucked, bro. You are completely fucked. Okay? Because life ain't fair. You're not owed shit. And sure as fuck, the government sure as ain't gonna fucking come and save you. There ain't nobody that's gonna come and save you. You fail, you're on your own. You know, you always see all these people too, you know, bitching that the government's not giving them free this and free that and not helping with this and they should be doing more there. Yeah, good luck with that. You let me know in 10 years how that goes. I don't give a fuck what side you're on. There ain't a person in the government that's for you personally. There ain't a person in the government that's gonna come save you. Me and everyone I've met I've met everybody that votes Democrat. I've met people that vote Republican. And you know what? There ain't a fucking one of them. If they are employees, and if I ran the government as a business, there ain't a one of them motherfuckers I wouldn't fire and boot their ass personally out the fucking door. None of them are for you. None of them give a fuck about you, the homeless man, the one fucking busting his ass at work. They don't give a fuck about you. The IRS does. Oh, trust me, they're coming for them tax dollars. Oh, you're homeless, you're broke, you need some help. I didn't see no homeless man. You this way, I'm gonna look that way. Oh, you over there? I'm gonna look that way. I don't see nothing. Wait, you got a paycheck? Where's that fucking paycheck? Give me that paycheck. The IRS gives a shit. When you get that paycheck, you just believe they're gonna be coming. Paycheck. I smell dollar bills. I want my cut. What? You didn't do you didn't do any of the work. Bitch, I don't give a fuck. Give me that fucking paycheck. Yeah, don't pay the government. See how well that works. But go ask the government for help. See how well that works. You can accept it or you can complain and bitch about it. But you can wish and shit in both hands. And guess which one's gonna fill up first? It ain't gonna be the wishes and the hopes and the dreams. Alright, I'm signing off. Peace.